What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. Back to talk about all the portal craziness that has gone on, specifically with Michigan State in the college football realm over the last week and a half or so. I mean, it's been going on, all off season, really, but it's been an interesting week and a half specifically since we last chatted about this topic. For the Spartans specifically, and the portal is now officially closed, and all those names that we talked about a week and a half ago, yeah, that turns out to have just been scratching the surface. Also, we've had a few guys transfer in that we haven't talked about yet. So let's just talk about some of the guys that have transferred out, some that, possibly might come back, and then the guys that have transferred in since then. So anyway, before we jump into that, thank you all for tuning in. If you would, please hit that subscribe button down below and drop a like if you like the video. Why not? So let's just first go through the list of guys transferring out. Now, this is the spring portal edition, so this doesn't include any guys that transferred back in, say, December or anything like that. This is mainly guys that transferred during the spring window, and specifically some names that have entered within the last week and a half since we last talked. So we got Jalen Barberin, Matt Nateote, Braden Miller, Eddie Pleasant, Davion Prim, Simeon Barrow, Sebastian Brown, Jalen Berger, Marky Lowry, Jack Nickel, Andrew DePape, Derek Harmon, Bai Jobe, Malcolm Jones, Ethan Boyd, Gino Vandemark, Jaden Mangum, and Jaron Mangum. And then lastly, Kari Crump. Now that is 19 this spring, 33 total since the end of last season, if my math is mathing correctly on that. So you can really go through this with any regime change, a lot of players going elsewhere, and big roster turnover. I mean, in today's landscape, that's just how it goes. You look at what the last staff did when they came in. It was a similar number exiting the program, and this is really when this new era of, the transfer portal and NIL was really just starting. NIL hadn't even really begun yet when the last staff came in there in 2020. But this is unfortunately just how it is whenever there is staff change. That's why you hope when you do have a staff change that staff is there for a long time, and you can, keep the number of exits, small in the off season, especially with a brand like Michigan State. So from this group of spring transfers, you do have a handful of starters, or what we would have been believed to have been starters that have entered this spring window. And, obviously the two that we talked about last week, in Simeon Barrow and Derek Harmon on that defensive line, they were going to be, as we said, on that defensive line, that powerful duo again. But both of them have entered the transfer portal before. It seems like Barrow is for sure gone. Some similar interest as to when he entered last time. I know he's seen him on an LSU visit. I know Miami is on the list as well, but that for sure seems like the door closed, not coming back to Michigan State. Obviously, 2 minutes after posting this could prove wrong. That's just how all this goes. Harmon, it does seem like the door is still semi-open. I don't know if it's likely that he returns to Michigan State, but it seems like the final five is USC, Oregon, Ohio State, Colorado, and then, returning to Michigan State. Now, a couple of surprise final hour entries of guys that are projected to be starters. First, Gino Vandemark, projected to be a starter on that offensive line this fall. And then you had Jaden Mangum as well, obviously starting safety from last year. Both of them enter the portal on the last day of the cycle. Kind of shocked by both of these. I guess maybe so Jaden than Gino, because Gino was in the portal before and seems like he was, pretty much a shoo-in to go to Oklahoma before returning here to Michigan State. So he enters again. I'm assuming he's gone. I could be wrong. As far as Jaden Mangum, I know he is taking a visit to that school down the road. I've heard Ohio State possibly in the mix as well for him. And then Gino Vandemark, it seems like either going to Oklahoma, where he almost was this winter, or I have seen some people talk about possibility of familiar face with Chris Kapelovich down there in Tuscaloosa, with that new staff in Alabama, possibly going down there. Who knows? Who knows anything, really? In closing, obviously would love to have these starters back, as I've said. However, I forget if we touched about it in last week's video, but the rumors of players possibly negotiating in bad faith in terms of NIL deals or coming back to the roster. Obviously, I don't know. I don't know personally, just from, reading some of the talk out there on this situation. Seems like that possibly could have been the case in terms of guys negotiating possibly in bad faith, getting raises, coming back, and then now entering again, either to just reading the writing on the wall, either get a raise here or go elsewhere and get another raise as well. Not saying that this is any of the guys that I talked about here, any of the starters or any of the other transfers. Obviously, you don't even know this to be a fact at all. That's just been the chatter around, the transfer portal cycle this spring, we'll just say. But I got to put Jaden Mangum as, priority one to come back. For one, obviously, because I like the kid a lot, but two, we're also very thin and young in that secondary and need experienced bodies. Obviously, he, played and started all of last year. So getting experienced bodies back there to pair with Malik Spencer, obviously, I thought they were a good young duo last year, so would like to see that continue to develop as they head into their upperclassmen years here coming up. But, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. And then also to note, Antonio Gates, I know we did talk about last episode as well, did enter the transfer portal, but he has since removed his name from the transfer portal, so he will be coming back to Michigan State. Now for the good news, the guys that have transferred in this spring. So starting out, it seemed like the staff was all over getting a running back transfer this spring cycle, which I was really surprised about because obviously you have Nathan Carter, you have Jalen Berger there. Seems like a good 1-2 punch. But they go out and get running back K'Ron Lynch-Adams from UMass. Last year had 1,157 yards, 12 touchdowns. Nice addition, obviously, since, as we talked about, Berger has entered the portal, and, it seemed like kind of in the spring game that he was passed up on the depth chart because he wasn't on that second team. It was freshman Brandon Tulis getting those second team reps in the spring showcase, and, it seemed like they were, as we said, looking all spring to add a backup running back, and the writing was on the wall there for Berger to enter the portal, not getting those second team reps. But so they get that guy in K'Ron Lynch-Adams, who had a productive year last year and is an experienced guy coming in. A guy who's played a lot of football in his career, so come in and assuming he'll slot right behind Nathan Carter there in that depth chart this fall. Next, we added, I believe right before I actually recorded last episode, but we didn't touch on him much, linebacker Anthony Jones, by the way, of Indiana and Oregon. Another young depth piece for that linebacker room that is, has some of its guys getting older, like Darius Snow, Cal Halliday, transfer Jordan Turner as well. Grabbing another young piece to go with young guys like Jordan Hall is a positive. I'm assuming probably not a lot of playing time this fall. He hasn't had a lot of playing time in his career thus far. Obviously still very young. Don't expect immediate impact, though. More of a depth piece for the 2024 roster, in my estimation. But with guys like Darius Snow, Jordan Turner, Cal Halliday, as I said, graduating, this fall, assuming that, he'll be in that mix next year with some of the younger guys as well. Next, got some secondary help in a recruitment that we beat out Alabama for. You love the sound of that. Edward Woods, cornerback from Arizona State, has a lot of playing experience in his career. Coming in as a senior, playing in all 4 years, had 1 interception last year and 2 forced fumbles. He should compete for either a starting role next year or definitely in that playing rotation immediately. Lastly, we get former MSU commit offensive lineman Andrew Dennis from Mount Pleasant. He obviously was committed to Michigan State, decommitted last fall. And honestly, who can blame the kid with all the times of uncertainty that we saw last fall and everything else that was going on? So he decommitted, ended up going to Illinois, but we get Andrew back in the fold. And this was really a surprise commitment, I believe, that, kind of escalated really quickly over the last couple of days. He entered the portal on the 29th and was committed by the night of the 2nd. So I believe he was on campus the 2nd as well, or the 1st. I believe it was the 2nd that he was on campus visiting. And, one that escalated quickly. I believe the talk was that he wanted to be closer to home from the stuff that I read or heard. So, hey, love getting some more offensive line help, especially with some guys like Gino Vandemark entering the portal and some of the other guys we've lost on the line. Just total really since last season in terms of graduation or transfer portal as well. So anyway, that's kind of the update on the Michigan State transfer portal talk. I'm assuming, we're adding a couple more guys. Obviously, I think at least one more body on the defensive line. If we don't get Mangum back, then I'm assuming we add a safety as well. You kind of really need to, probably preferably an experienced safety, either junior or senior or super senior even. But we'll see. I think they're still looking to add a wide receiver as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. But then in terms of some other Michigan State stuff, basketball, as I said, I think they're done, but I don't know. If not, I'm assuming we'll probably have a basketball check-in soon. They are going to Spain this August, so probably come on and talk about that. And if they surprise us all and go grab another body in the portal, we'll obviously be here to talk about that as well. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out and go green.